Hi everyone, welcome to the third day of the webinar. So we will be starting the session in the next 5 minutes. We are just waiting for a few more people to join in. Until then, if there are any questions, queries from the past session, feel free to post in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you. Just wait for another 30 more seconds and then we will start. Kumar, no worries if that's normal and it's understood fact that sometimes there are hesitation. And that's totally fine. You can reach out to our counselors on ExcelR and they will be helping you to, or they will be guiding you in terms of how to take it up or what are the ways of interview preparation, what are the things that you can say, and so on and so forth. So they will take it up. So you can reach out to any one of the box and that can be taken up. Good evening to all. Okay, we have a good head counts now. So let's get started with today's agenda. So basically today I would like to help you understand how the modeling concept works and how things can go alongside, like how the data works around. So yesterday we understood how preparation of the report works. Now today I'll also give you a kind of a glimpse in terms of how data modeling works. Now for this we need to pull up data from the internet and I'll be picking up two data sets in this case. We have already done one in yesterday's session, so I'll just recap the same things, but this time I'll be picking up a different data just for the understanding purpose. Let's say in this case, I pick up something called World Happiness Report. So this is the page I'll be picking up, and I'll also be picking another one, but let me load this data first and let me show you what data I'm referring in this case. So as you can see, there are two. One is the description over here, which actually gives a description data. Apparently for 2013 and 2000, let's say 22, 23 and 22, the data does not exist, but the data is available for 2020. So we'll be using this data, and my intent is to majorly use the column country in this case. Okay, so what I do is I copy the data from here. I come to my Power BI. Okay, to get this data, what I can do is I go to get data over here. I'll click on from web. Now there are many other sources from which you can pick up even additional connections, like there are SAPs are there are portals are there. So there are many connections from where you can pull up information. So Power BI has a plethora of information, a plethora of sources from where you can pull up contents and you can pull up data and present the report. Even Facebook, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, all of these platforms are also available from where you can pull up information, including Power BI database is also one of them, by the way. So in this case, let's say I go to web, which allows me to get the data from the website. I'll paste the URL over here. I click OK, and it will search for the website, like as we did it yesterday, the same recap. So it's just searching out, and it will give me the list of all the contents available on that website. So let me just check if that's okay. It's loading. Okay. Yeah. So the frame is available here. So it will start showing all the tables available from that website. So it just takes time as just keep you guys on mute. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. So the data has already appeared over in the form of table, but then in this case, I'll have to click on tables individually to check out the data. Now, for that matter, in my case, I know exactly which one it is. So for in your case, you will have to manually check it out by clicking and having a crossway. Now, this is a one-time activity. Once you understand, then it becomes easy stuff. In this case, I activate table 17 as my source because that's the one I want to load. And in this case, you can see the data has all the relevant options. Overall rankings are there, score is available, GDP, and not many things are available, right? So let me load this data here. Now I'll show you how map and other visuals work in this case in a correlation level. Or let's say if you want to have a model, like if you want to connect the data across the table, then how it works. So just to give you a glimpse of it. So let me load the data here. Okay. So the data is loaded. Let me give it a name, WHR, that's short for World Happiness Report. And I know for a fact that the data that I'm holding right now is all related to a location level output, right? So once I go into the data here, and if I open up the fields, you can see all the location related output. Let me rename this as country. And let me tag the data as a geolocation. And to do that, I just click on the column. Under column tools, we have done this in yesterday session as well. So just marking it as a country in this case, based on which it will tag it as a geolocation and the data is present. Now just to present the data, what I do is I'll just drag World Happiness Report onto the main screen. And it actually gives me automatically the map visual by default. And you can see the whole map has been plotted in this case. Let me use part of the screen for this. Yeah. Now, once this visual is there, I just have to plot it. Now, I don't want a suggestion, so I'll just turn it off, which ends up giving me another framework to play with. Like I have longitude, latitude, legends, and so on and so forth. So legend is where you can put colors, which we will be seeing in the next few minutes. Then longitude, latitude, in case the data is not getting tagged properly, in that case, you can mark it as longitude and latitude. Like for example, knowingly or unknowingly, your system is not considering the data as country. Instead, it is considering county or continent or something else. In that case, the map plotting on the screen will go wrong. As you can see, it's showing me a limited number of information. In such cases, longitude and latitude does definitely help. But yeah, majority of the time, always have a check whether you are tagging the frame correctly or not. So in this case, I'll just mark it as country. It automatically captures the location. But let's say, for example, instead of marking it at India, it's marking elsewhere. In that case, you can add longitude and latitude and mark it exactly at the same location. Now, this is one of the data. Now, let's say, for example, I'll take GDP into the bubble size. That way, the circle size will be decided based on the GDP. Now, the bubbles are quite big. So what I do is I go to the brush. Now, again, we have seen this in yesterday's session that whenever we want to play around with some formatting, we can simply come here. Let me just collapse this. There we go. So we can simply go to the bubble, and over here we can reduce. Now in yesterday's session we increased it. In today's session we'll be reducing it down so that the circle proportionately go down. So 20 is what I guess let me go down to 26. Yeah, this is what I would be sticking with, 26 to 25. Yeah. So let me stick at 26 in this case. Okay. Now, once this is taken care, once the circles are decided, now that's one part of my report. Now, what I want is I want to tag them as for continents. Okay. So the data that I'm looking for is I want to know under which continent does a country fall under. Now, for that, I don't have the data yet. If you realize, neither in the sample data nor in the World Happiness Report data, I don't have that information with me. So what I do is I actually go back again into my internet, okay, and I look for something called country and continent of the world. That gives me a list of info. Again, majority of the stuff I'm picking from the internet. Again, these are all publicly available resources that I'm using. Okay, so you can simply use it so that whenever in future if the data changes, we just have to do a refresh and the data is directly plotted. As simple. Now, once we have this information, now again, let me just refresh the page because of the ad block. Yeah, that should do it. Now, if I scroll down, now this is exactly kind of a diagram that I'm looking for, where every continent is a set color, and within the continent we have countries. Like I can see the continents over here, and I can literally see India as a part of it. So this is what I'm looking for, right? So in this case, I can see overall the data is being presented over here. I scroll down and this is the list I'm looking for. Country name and the continent that it belongs to. Be mindful that I'm not planning to download any CSV or JSON file in this. I'll be picking up data from the internet directly so that any change happens should automatically be captured into my report. Now what I do is I simply copy the URL once again. Same approach, same web scraping technique. So I go to my Power BI once again. I go to get data from web. Same structure again, pasting the URL. Let the BI scan the website. Once the scanning is completed, it should provide me a list of table that is able to capture. Let's see. Okay, it's taking time. Just give me a minute. Okay, it's almost there. Yeah, perfect. So I can see the tables are there. I can click on the table, and on the right, I can see the information. The one I am looking is also available. So I already saw the table in table one, but I'm just having a browse through to check is there anything extra that I would be getting in this case. So I can see continent, country, and more many other data into it, right? As you can see, the data, the naming, the nomenclatures, all are available in these cases. So if this is the information that you want to load into your data, you can pick this information and you can simply load it. The one I'm not looking in this case, I'm not looking for this one. Instead, I'm looking for the full list. So what I take is I'll take the first one, the table data. Although there is a small challenge here, the challenge is the heading is not correctly tagged. Now, whenever you realize that the data is not in the correct manner, what you can do is you can actually do something called as a data cleansing technique, which is also termed as a ETL, extract, transform, and load, where the data gets extracted. Then in Power Query, it gets transformed into a usable output, and then it gets loaded into your Power. So in this case, we need to transform the data to a usable output. So I activate table one, but instead of loading the data, because there is a cleansing required in this case. So instead of loading the data, I click on transform data. At this time, you guys will be seeing another interface, which is called as Power Query Editor. Now, apparently, Power Query Editor is also a part of Excel. If you are familiar, if you understand Power Query from Excel, Power Query for Power BI is also exactly the same. So basically, it's like you learn one platform and it can be used and implemented into two locations. Now, once you have the data here, now I can see on the left side all the tables that are uploaded yet. And on the right side, all the actions performed with that is available in this case. So here, I simply give it a name. Let's say I'll just provide it, let's say continent. Give it a name, shorter name, cont. I want to take this first row as a header. Now, normally, I would have deleted this, manually entered. But in this case, Power Query has problems for, or like solutions for every answer, like every question. Sorry, not answer, every question. Like, for example, I want to make this first row as a header. Fair enough. Under transform, there's a dedicated button itself called use the first row as header. You click on it and automatically the first line is promoted as a header. And the best part here is every action that you perform is recorded over. Now, by any chance, if this interface is not available, no worries. Anything that disappears can be brought back. You just have to go to the View tab and simply activate something called as Quick Set. Once you click on Quick Settings, automatically the frame appears and every action that you perform is documented. Anything that you do not want, you can simply cancel it out and that step simply disappears from the line. You want to resume it back, definitely there is no undo button, but you definitely can reissue that step and it will be re-executed. Once we have corrected the data, once we have done the required output, I just have to go to the Home tab and click on Close and Apply. Automatically, whatever changes were done at a query level will simply update itself into the report. And the best part which I like about Power BI over here is that Power BI does not require me to tell the system what are the connection, what are the linkages between these two data. It automatically understands that and makes the relationship. Let me show you that. Once the data gets loaded, you will see a small change appearing in a model view. I'll come to that. Just give me a minute. Okay, great. The data has been loaded here, the continental data. So let me now show you the magic. If I go to the model view here, okay, which is basically where I can see the whole structure of the data. You realize that the data has automatically made connections between each other. I did not do this from my side. Power BI has done it on its own. It actually understands the connection between these two data and it made a relationship between them. You realize that basically Power BI assumed, or rather, Power BI understood that the country in these two sets are exactly the same. You realize this country is a common element and it automatically tagged those common element between the data. I didn't even have to do this. Power BI does it on its own. How does it check? It just checks two things. One is the column name. The primary check is a column name. If the column names are common, then the second check is that the content in them are also the same. If these two checks are correct, it automatically makes this relationship for you. Now, what if this does not get created? No worries. If the relationship or if the connection is not created, like I'm deleting the relationship now. So in this case, I can make the relationship. And to do that, it's a simple drag drop. You can simply click on the data, drag it on the other info, and that's it. The data is completed. You would see the relationship is created. And the benefit of this is that now you can do a VLOOKUP. It's a very simple. So basically, these are lookup parameters. These relationships are lookup parameters. You can simply do VLOOKUP with tags. You can simply do it measures and so on. So although we are not getting into that, as I mentioned in the last class and the previous class as well, that we will be learning all of that in the master class because it requires time and you need to understand the concept of DAX and then gradually get into it. But let me show you without that also we can do things. So like majorly 60% of the task is still possible. Only few things where formulas, functions are required, that's where you will be using the DAX. Now let me come to my report view and let me make a minor change into the output. So let me mark this as country and let me mark the other as continent. The marking helps the data to understand whether it's a geolocation or not. So I've done with these two tagging. So I know one is a continent and the second one is a country in this case. The benefit of having this information is that now when I drag the data in, like for example, I already mentioned the legend is for colors, right? Whenever I want to bifurcate the data in colors, you can use legend. I can simply drag continent into the legend and you would see a variation in the output. Now you can see all the continent is been highlighted and with that the informations are provided. And if you want, you can actually make a summary out of the data as well. Like for example, I make a bar chart over here. Let's say I will use continent into the y-axis and I'll take GDP into the x-axis, which you automatically continental level report is also presented. Right? In this case, when I click on these information, let's say if I click on Europe, you can see automatically map gets zoomed in to Europe. If I talk about Asia, I can click on that and that gives me a report. And that can be done with every respective location that I have in this case. And if nothing, just click outside and your data resumes back. This is the key functionality of a Power BI. So one thing is just presenting the data, what we did yesterday, just with a drag and drop. But apart from that, when you want to make a proper report out of the data, you can simply use model view where you can make a relationship, data view to sanitize the data to the best effort, query to clean it to an optimum level of usage, and then the report to present the data to its best presentable output. I hope this makes sense to all of us. Yes, no would really help in the chat. If you guys are clear till here, just type a yes in the chat. I'll give you guys 5 minutes to give an attempt on these actions. I will do a recap, no worries. But I need a confirmation that till here things are clear or not. I'll just take a pause of 30 seconds for your confirmation. Okay, I have few responses. That's great. Waiting for others. Okay, perfect. I have good responses on Zoom. That's great. Okay, let's move on to the next phase now. So once you understand, okay, let me now do a recap so that you guys can try it on your own as well. So the first thing is what I did is I visited the first website, that was World Happiness Report, to get the primary data. The first link is what I've used, and I will be sharing the link in the chat as well for easy access for everyone. Okay, so after that, I took the second data, which was continent and country, like country and continent of the world. You guys can also search the same. You'll get the same link, and the link that I'm using is World Population Report with list of countries and continent in this case. Once I took these data, again, let me copy paste these links in the chat so that you can have the access. Here we go for the first one. And let me take the second one as well. So these are the two links that I have used to populate the information. Okay. Now, once you have these data at your end, okay, simply you can copy this. Now, how to do this? Like I went into Power BI. I want to get data from web and I pasted the URL. The same process of web scraping what we did yesterday. For World Happiness Report, we took table 17 as a response or table 17 as a source. And for continent and country, we took table 1 as our output. I already shared the link in the chat, so you guys can try this out and you can upload this data into your Power BI. Once the data is uploaded, you simply come to the model view and make a connection. Now, if the namings are done automatically, like when you load it, you will be asked whether you want to load the data or transform the data. For World Happiness Report, we just load the data. But for the continent, we actually click on transform to promote the header and rename it. Once that is taken care, you would see automatically the label gets connected. If in case it does not get connected, you can simply drag country and drop it onto the country. That automatically creates the relationship for us, which then can be used to build the report. Now, how did I build the report over here? I just took world happiness with the country into the map that brought the framework. And then I dragged GDP into the circle. So let me show you the panel. So I took the map visual here. And in the map visual, I took country into the location. Legend has continent and bubble size is GDP. Post that, I created a bar chart, the horizontal bar. And in that, I took continent as x-axis and y-axis as GDP. Now, why am I doing this? So that when I interact with the continent data, my map should react to my selection. So as of now, it's 3:31. I'll take a pause of 5 minutes. Please try this out at your end. Any questions, do let me know. Any questions, any queries, feel free to put it in the chat box. I've also shared the link on the chat as well for you guys to access it fast. It's 33. I'll wait for another 3 more minutes. Great, great. A minute more. Any questions, please post in the chat. V222. Please put your question in the chat. I'll be happy to answer it. I believe I'm not able to see the question in the chat. Okay. I think there are no questions. I believe everyone is done till here. That's R1, short for report 1. The first report using the world happiness data and the continent. Next, it's all about the next version is just to present the data in different ways where the conversation of the data may go in line with the output. So we'll take one more visual, one more understanding, then I'll hand over the platform to my colleague so that he can take it for the next topic. But please give me a confirmation if things are good at your end. If things are clear, we are good, just type done in the chat box so that I can proceed further with the next agenda. Great, great. So I do have responses in both YouTube and chat. That's awesome. So now let me move down to the next concept over there. Okay. Say I have the data, right? So I need to understand the scatter. I need to understand the correlation between the data for two parameters. Let's say, for example, I need to understand the continental level output in terms of healthy life expectation to freedom to make life choice, or let's say generosity versus percentage of corruption, or freedom to make life choices with correlation of corruption. So like I want to have a correlation between them. To get the correlation, what I do is I use something called as a scatter. Scatter allows me to see the data at a scatter. And these are like, there are many visuals that's there. We will be learning some of them right now, and rest would be taken care in the masterclass. So let's say I have something called as a tree map, okay, which gives you a advanced version of a pie chart. Let's say, for example, if I have to take continent, and within continent, if I take GDP, that shows me GDP at a continental level. The same thing can be done in a pie chart also, where I can take continent as a legend. Okay, and then I can take, let's say, GDP into the value, and that gives me collections of, oh, I took country. Let me take continent over here. And that gives me continental wise slices. If I want, I can actually change this to a donut where the center section is available for additional info. There are many variations that you can try out, but I want to understand a correlation between stuffs, right? So when we are going with a correlation, we go with something called as a scatter. Okay, so in scatter chart, basically you have a parameter of X, Y, and basically the values and all. Now, X and Y basically goes with numbers. So let's say I take freedom to make life choice in the X axis, and let's say percentage of corruption into the Y axis. So as of now, it's just a single point of a discussion, right? Now what I do is I take continent into the value. That shows me the dots, what's the correlation between a continent for freedom to making life choice versus percentage of corruption. So as you can see, in Europe, the freedom is higher, and with that, the percentage of corruption is also higher. So that gives me a correlation of two data sets. Now you might have seen this in Amazon and other websites where you buy one product, it actually correlates and shows you that, okay, the person who's bought this product as also having a tendency to buy the second product, and that correlation helps you to understand whether the product is needed or not, right? In this situation also, you can actually add a layer, like just by playing around with these boxes. Again, if you are concerned, just play around. Like for example, I want to know GDP level also. So I simply pick up GDP in this case, and that brings me down to the GDP level based on percentage of corruption with correlation of freedom to make life choice. Now I have a better go. So I can see GDP is very high. So the circle size decides about the GDP, right? So Europe GDP is also bigger. Corruption is bigger, and freedom to make life choices also. So as you can see, everything is a positive trend. So GDP becomes higher, corruption is also higher, and freedom to make life choices is also higher. So that's a positive correlation. If let's say the circle size was lower in this case, then it would have been a negative correlation. So this level of analysis is what you end up getting with Power BI. And these are very few things. Again, as I mentioned, there are many stuff we can work it out in this case. Let's say as we saw that there is a legend over here, we can add legend into the category, and then every section gets a color. Let's say if I want to see this in a more detailed version, instead of taking continent, I can actually pick country, and that gives me a cluster of circles. That gives me a cluster of circles showing me exactly which country, which continent, and which data. Let's say to give a realistic output, let me remove GDP for now, and you can see how the clusters are being formed. So this is how the data works at a BI level. When you understand how the data to be presented, things become very easy in terms of the presentation point of view. Please try this out at your end. Take out 5 minutes, just attempt it out at your end. And if anything, let me know. We'll take one more visual, and then I'll hand over the platform to my colleague, and then they can take it up. I'll also show you the platform, the contents that I'm using in this case. So I'm using the scatter with informations of freedom versus percentage of corruption with correlation of continent and GDP. In this case, I'm not using value because it's already a part of the color. But yeah, if you do not want color, you can use this into the value. Both fine, works fine. Please try it out at your end. More visual, yes, it actually requires login because more visual is not possible, or you will not be able to access it unless you log in with your Microsoft account. Because to even log in into Microsoft account, you need that, right? So more visual goes there, like it actually accesses the Microsoft account, and from there it actually downloads visual. So, and it's totally fine. There are alternative ways to get it, so there's no harm in having, or it's totally fine if it is invisible. There's another version which is called download or load the data. So if you see in my case, there's another set of info called import visual from a file. So you can try this one out as well. If you have the offline visual, you can try from there. But things are doable at both ends. So there's no harm, there's no problem in that. Let the question be keep flowing, guys. So the more you ask questions, the more I'll be able to answer them, and you will be ending up learning more stuffs gradually. Let the question keep coming. I'll just wait for another 2 more minutes, and then we'll move down to one more visual. Okay, I take that everyone is done till here. So let me proceed further. Let me squeeze it back to the main frame. Let's say if I want to have a better analysis in terms of a location level output and I want to get more detailed version of it, I can actually take a scatter again, and that gives me another variation of information. Now, there are many other visuals available which you can try or you can explore it in this case. But for now, I'll just show another visual over here. Let's say I'll take up, let's say, freedom versus health. Okay, that shows me a overall string. And in this case, I take country as my scatter. So you can see the data gets spreaded out in this case. And the best, what I like about it is, let's say if I add continent into this layer, let me just come to legend and add it. Now my data has a better understanding. So, sorry, excuse me. Apology for that. Now, in this case, when I click on any of the circles, you would see that I exactly get to know what's the correlation for a location. So this is the benefit that I get using my scatter. And in this also, if I want, I can literally pick up a bar chart. Sorry, wrong chart at the wrong place. Let me pick up a fresh one. I pick up a bar over here. I can simply pick again the same content, continent wise. Okay, yeah. So let me take continent and let me take, let's say, overall score, overall ranking. That gives me at a overall ranking level. Let me pick up the average ranking in this case to get an accurate result. So the overall average ranking wise where people are standing. So I can literally click on individual section to see how the data have been spread out. If let's say, for example, if I want to talk about Asia and Africa at the same time, I can hold the control and I can choose different location to get informations out just by clicking at them. In this case, I'm just holding the control key and I'm clicking onto the elements of which I want to see the result. So this is what a Power BI is capable. And with that, I take a pause over here. So any questions, any queries, please post in the chat box. I'll be taking up any Q&As in the next 5 minutes. If no questions, then I'll hand over the platform to my colleague over here, Preetham, who will be taking up the further session from here on. So any question, please post in the chat and then I'll hand over the platform. If any questions towards Amar, you can also put in reference to, let's say, how to reach out to the counselor, anything, please post in the chat. He will be the right person to address. So Amar, over to you in that case.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Preetham, are you there?
Yeah, Amar. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Right. So, good evening, everyone. I welcome you to the session. So, I will be taking your Tableau module. So, let's understand what is Tableau, and I'm very much confident that you must have learned something good in Power BI, and you have the quite fair knowledge in the Power BI now. So, let's move on to the Tableau. So, myself is Preetham Agarwal, and I have a 9 years of experience in the IT, and right now I'm working in the a data analyst field. So I hope everyone can see my screen. This is quick thumbs up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your screen is visible.
All So before going to Tableau, let's understand what is a visualization and why we are doing this visualization. So in front of everyone, there is a Excel data, which is my source data. And can anyone, like, by looking at this data, can anyone help me what whether my data? So I have been working in sample superstore. So this is, let's say, taking an example of, this is a retail chain, just like Amazon or Flipkart or any retail chain. So understanding from that perspective, by looking at this data, can anyone guess whether I am doing any profitable business, or what is the scope of improvement? Where is my KPIs? What are we doing in this? So these are the questions when we have this data. So by looking at this raw data, it's very hard, it's very complex to understand what is the performance of my business, or what is the performance of my products. So taking that in the mind, if we have something like this, the same data, if we have something like in terms of charts, yeah. So by looking at this charts, I can now predict, okay, this is my sales, this is my customers, these are the customer in my regions, these are the quantity I'm selling, yeah. Overall, these are my products. So who is my top customer, who is giving me the highest profit, what is the profit I'm doing? So the same graph, the same table, the same data is now converted into the charts. Now we human are very sensitive towards any pictorial things, right? Any pictures which will be, it likes, it will we rare, we generally captures, when the pictures are there, we generally figure out what is happening, right? So pictures are something which is very close to human minds. By looking at the pictures, yes, it's quite visible that we can follow that, like, okay, which, whether my business is growing, whether I am doing a right direction business, whether I have, there is any scope. So these all are the different queries we can get out from this graphs. So this raw data is converted into the graphs, and now we can solve our most of the business issues. So Tableau is one of the BI tool which is quite popular among all the organizations. And according to the Gartner is the company which values the softwares. So Tableau is the second highest among the popularity among all the users who is using this BI. Now, we will, what is then BI? What is this business intelligence mean? Very simple. Someone, if I say someone is intelligent, means he is capable enough to solve any problems, right? So similarly, BI tools are the software. If we give, if we ingest any business data to that tool, the outcome of that should be like something visuals which we can predict, which we can analyze and help my business to understand the performance. So that is, in a simple notes, I can explain what is a BI. Okay. Yes. Now moving on to what are the Tableau products. So there are few products in Tableau which we must know when we start working on Tableau. So one is called Tableau Desktop, and this is the license version of Tableau Desktop. This is most of, in our organization we use this. For our demo purpose, for our study purpose, we have called a software called Tableau Public. This is a free version of Tableau. So desktop is something cost around 3,000 per month per user, or almost $40. But this Tableau Public is something is free. Okay. So for our demo purpose to learn, we will download this Tableau Public and we can use it. Also, there is one more product for Tableau students, for which the student can enjoy the same like the Tableau desktop facility which is there in the Tableau desktop. Everything will be present in Tableau students. It's free for only students. It's free only for students, and then all students can enjoy for 1 year of this license, but it's for free. But it is a student version. A person must be studying in some colleges, or he should have the college ID and access to download it. So he can enjoy the Tableau desktop for 1 year, which is almost around 3,000 or 36K per year, which is Tableau giving for a charity for 1 year for students just to learn. But apart from that, it's not a limitations. We can use this Tableau public free. Tableau public also we can download and we can use it for our demo purpose. So for that, Tableau public, we can directly go to Google and say, let's download the Tableau public first. Let's write the Tableau public download. I hope everyone, if you can do it parallelly, you can download it. Else, we'll have again the session tomorrow. So you will come prepared, you download it properly from there, and then we can start working on there also. So Tableau public download, you just Google in Tableau public download, go to Tableau public, and you can just use this button, go to products. So you can see Tableau desktop is something a 14-day trial period. If I registered here, if I continue from here, it's a 14-day trial period, which is desktop, which is almost around 36,000. So Tableau is giving just to try for 14 days. After 14 days, you need to purchase. Else, we can go to products. Under the products, we can use Tableau public. Okay. You can go to here, go to products, Tableau public, and you can download, right? Go to Tableau public, create, and you can download the Tableau public. You can download the Tableau public here. So I can give you direct link of this in the chat in case anyone want to download it. So after the session, I can post this link to the chat window, so you can do it. Otherwise, you can just go to the Tableau public in Google and you can download it. So this is the overview of what are the products available in Tableau, which one we have to use for our demo purpose, and we'll start from there. All right. Now, so till here, okay, I give 5 minutes for everyone. Let's download this. Okay, meanwhile, let me also post this in the chat window so that if anyone wants to download it, you can download there. Let's take 5 minutes. And anyone want to download, please download it. Yeah, you can all can use this link, which will be directly jumping into the page of Tableau public. From there, you can just directly install this Tableau public. So Tableau public is free. Anyone can use this. Tableau desktop is something which is licensed version. We need to pay for the license. But if anyone try to Which one Anusha is saying to contact with administrator? Which one? Not able to download. Okay, you just download, go to the Tableau public in the Google and you can just use it. So if I go here, if you can see on my screen, if I just press this button, so you need to download this app which is written here. Okay, and you need to register with some email ID so that you can save your work in Tableau public server. Good. All right, let's start. So once this Tableau is downloaded, when I open this, the first page, it looks like this. When we open the Tableau, the first page of the Tableau will look like this. So this is the location. This is the location or the page where we need to make the connection with our data. So there may be many data. So this is the Tableau desktop version. Hence, I can have lots and lots of connection, like I can have connection with my database, I can connect with the Google Drive, I can have any other like Salesforce data if my data is residing on the Salesforce server, so I can go ahead with that. So in the Tableau desktop, as I'm paying the fee, as I'm paying the license, so I get so many things, so many connections to connect my data. But since Tableau public, you may not be seeing all these connections since it is free, of course. So Tableau is not giving everything for free. So for that, in Tableau public, you cannot have connection to connect to the database. But yes, for the learning purpose, they are providing connection like Microsoft Excel or text file or JSON. So you can connect over there. Okay. So for time being, I just want to analyze the orders. This is my sample superstore data, just like Flipkart. This sample superstore is one of the retail chain, and they wanted us. So I'm being the data analyst. Let's understand this use case that they wanted to understand where my product is, how am I growing, what is the scope of my business, whether I should continue doing any product, whether which customer is doing a good business with me. So all these kind of questions, this sample superstore came, he has given us some data with us. So now, right now, this is my data, which is an Excel report, and this is my Tableau. So I want this data and Tableau to talk to each other. So I want this data to analyze in my Tableau. So first of all, to analyze that, I need to make a connection with my data. So Tableau is a one tool, Excel is another tool, another data. So I want to connect, I want to make a connection with them. So this is the first page. When I come to Tableau, this is the first place where Tableau is asking me first make a connection with your data source. So this is the connect window we say in Tableau. The first time when you open the Tableau, this is called the connect window. So we'll connect our data source with the Tableau to talk to my data with Tableau. We will do the connection. So right now my data is my Excel sheet. So directly I will make a connection called Microsoft Excel. Suppose tomorrow my data is a PDF file or JSON file. So I will use as per the my data source, I can make the connection. So these facilities are there in Tableau. Okay. Okay. Now I will make a connection. So just to make a connection with my data source, I will just click and I will say connect with my sample superstore. Okay. Connect with my data sample superstore. So I will connect a file with sample superstore. Okay. Now my sample superstore connection has been made. So this is the first time in the from the connection window, I just made Tableau and my Excel to talk to each other. So I made a connections. Once the connection is there, whatever the data is present in my sample superstore, everything will be pulled by the Tableau. So you can see there's the orders, peoples, and return. These are the different sheets present in the Excel. So everything will be pulled up by the Tableau. In Tableau, we call this each sheet as a table. Okay, each sheet is, we call it as a table. So we will call it as a orders table, people tables, and returns table. So whatever the data is present in my Excel server, we had made a connection, and now my data has been pulled up here. Okay, now my requirement is I wanted to see in my orders table what business I am doing, how much sales I am doing, how much profit I am doing, right? Whether which is my top products which is being which is very popular among all the customer, which region I am doing a good business. So I will take a example of a product. Let's say for our demo purpose, for our learning purpose, I will be analyzing two products, let's say Apple and Samsung. So these are the two different products. There are many products, as you can see here, as in the products table, you will see there are so many products. So product ID, product name. So you will see there are so many products is there under the different category. So we have some category called phones or some electronics where we say our Apple and Samsung. So we will be doing the analysis on that whether which particular, if I have to launch iPhone 15 in the market in the region, so which region will be the best for us. So we will consider that as an example and we will proceed. Okay, all right. So right now till we have this data. So I want to analyze this orders table. Hence in Tableau, I have made a connection with Excel and all these tables are pulled up. So just to analyze my orders table, what I will do, I will just drag into the white page, and this white space is called the canvas. So Tableau is very friendly. It doesn't require the coding. It just drag and drop play. It just drag and drop play. Now, if I want to analyze my orders table, just click on the orders and just drag it to the canvas. So this white space is called the canvas. Now, as soon as I bring these orders to my canvas, whatever the inline data is present, row ID, order date, all the columns, all the rows, it will be pulled. And I will get a preview of my data that, okay, these are the data present in your table. All right. Right. Yeah. Now I will tell you the intelligence of Tableau. You can see there are 21 columns and 10,000 plus records. So there are the 10,000 records and there are the 21 columns. Now, yeah. So Tableau is very smart, very intelligent. So in Excel, everything is like a string. If I don't mention anything, everything is a string. But when I import this data to Tableau, Tableau is very smart and it categorizes my all the data with its data type. Let's say row ID, it has the value of 1, 2, 3. Tableau is very smart and converted this data with the data type called numbers. Order date. So here just my data is just a simple order date, right? It is just a date column. Tableau is very smart and converted this date to the data type, and we can see like a calendar pictorial way. So Tableau converts the data type, and for you to understand if anything is in the integer type, it has the hash mark. If anything is a string, it will be represented as a ABC. Some country columns are there. So Tableau is very smart. It already, by looking at the column, it already converted this data type to geographical data. Okay, so very smart. Tableau is very smart. Now, once we have this data here, suppose I wanted to do some cleaning of my data. I wanted to clean my data. Let's say, let's suppose this is the order table. Okay, so this is the order table. Now, in this order table, I have the order ID, which is having the data US hyphen 2019 hyphen some number. Now I wanted to separate this. Suppose I wanted to analyze that. Okay, suppose my country is not there, but my order ID has this code. So I can separate this. Suppose my requirement is I want to separate. Very easy to do in Tableau. Just select this column, right click, and just say split. You can split this. Okay, you can split this. So as many spaces, as many hyphen are there, as many separators are there, it will split by. Okay, okay. Suppose I wanted to do some custom split. No, I don't want all the records. I only want to have only the first record. Yes, I can do. I can specify, okay, I want the separator hyphen. I will have to mention this separator as hyphen. And I wanted to say, okay, split the first only. Split off from the first. I can split it from the last. I can split it from the first. I can split it all. So I have that much facility in Tableau that, okay, if this is the data, how do you want to split? So I'm saying Tableau that based on this separator, just split it. Let's say, okay, so I have splitted the first, and let's see where is my data. So I am going at the last and see, yes, the data is got splitted. First data before the hyphen, I want that. So I have done. Now, suppose this is order ID split one. This name of the column does not look good to me. It should be logical. So for the profit, if someone see the profit column, it can understand, okay, this column is related to profit. Same way, this is the order ID split one. This does not look logical to me. I can rename this column. Just go here and say rename. So I can rename the column and let's say product purchase country. Anything I can write as per my logic. See, it got renamed product country region. Yeah. So there are so many functionality. If your data from the Excel, if it is not coming in the clean way, it's very simple in Tableau in the data source page. So we call this page as data source page. Here itself only I can do the cleaning part. Okay, the first step is we have done the connection with my sample superstore, which is an Excel sheet, and then I want to analyze my orders table. So I will just drag this order tables. Inside this order tables, if there is any data cleaning required, I can do this cleaning. Till here, I hope everyone understood. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I give you 5 minutes to work to bring the connection, to get the connection from your Excel sheet. Take any Excel sheet, just you can use any Excel sheet, create one Excel sheet, 1, 2, 3, and you can practice there. Or else, if everyone is there in the meeting, I can share this Excel sheet also. You can quickly connect with this Excel sheet. All right. So I have shared the sample superstore. So quickly, I give you 5 minutes to just complete these steps, connecting your Tableau. If you have downloaded a Tableau public, connect the data source and Tableau so that we can analyze, we can create a beautiful graphs to understand where my sample superstore is performing. Okay, how the sample superstore is performing, whether the sample superstore is performing good, here is it performing bad. So we will analyze that. All right. So please take 5 minutes and please work on it. Just quickly. Shall I take a quick yes from everyone if it is done? Yes, guys. A quick yes or no. All right. So now I have done the first work with my data and Tableau. So I made a connection with Tableau, and then I have done some cleaning of my data as per my requirement, and then I am okay to ready to go for the data visualization. Okay. 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 Are you all there with me? All right. So once my job is done, once I have cleaned my data, now my job is to visualize this. So to visualize the data in Tableau, there is a button called sheets. Just like how we have the sheets in our Excel sheets, in Tableau also we have the sheets options. So each sheet we will be creating a individual charts. Okay. So I click the sheet. So I have to analyze my orders. So all these columns and present in the orders is now available in my sheet one. You can see, okay, my connection is sample superstore, and inside the sample superstore, I want to analyze my orders table. So I made a connection. I drag the orders table. Inside these tables, there are so many columns. We have seen 22 around columns. So everything is now in present in my sheet one. Now, this is the area, this is the location we will be creating our graphs. Okay, this is the location we will be creating our graph. Now, you can see there are columns which got separated by a thin line here, right? Also, you can see if I just hover over here, it is blue color. If I hover below, it is green color. Now, Tableau is very smart. So the first smartness I said here, that when we import the data to Tableau, our data type got automatically converted. Tableau convert my data type. Suppose 1, 2, 3 are that, it is integer. So it automatically converted the data to integer. Suppose some column value is like looking like a date. So Tableau by default convert it into calendar pictures. Also, if some data is having the geographical data, so Tableau by default convert it into geographical. I don't take the pain of converting the data type. This is the smartness of Tableau. So this is the one case. Second is I can see my columns. I can see my columns. So these are called the columns. So in Excel, when you go in Excel, so these all are called the columns: row ID, order date. These are the columns, and these are the rows or the values. So you see, these are the columns: order date, ship date, mode, customer ID, customer name. These are the column names. Now, by Tableau is again doing his smartness, and it converts the tables columns in two way. One is in blue color, another is in green color. Now, all these blue color are called dimension. All these blue colors are called dimensions. All these green colors are called measures. So by looking at this column name, you can also just judge what is this measures, what is this dimension. Measures are the columns in which I can do the mathematical operations. Measures are the column which we do it, which we call it as a mathematical. So I can say my data is divided into dimensions and measures. So anywhere you go, when you have the data, so it will be categorized into two. What is the data, whether it is dimension or measures? All the measures I can do the mathematical operation. What do you mean by that? I can do sum of my sales, right or not? I can apply this sum. I can apply this mean. I can apply the max. So mathematical operation I can apply on the column. So the columns in which I can apply, in shortcut, you can say measures are some columns in which I can apply the mathematical operations. I can do the aggregation. I can do the aggregations. So aggregation on a column, if I can do the aggregation on any column, that will be considered as my measures. Okay. Dimension are like categorical in nature. So categorical in nature means, suppose I have a gender column. Let's say I have the gender column. I can have male, female, male, female, only these two data. So I have in my gender column only male is one category, female is another category. Can I do any aggregation on this column? Can I do any aggregation? No, I cannot do max or sum of gender. I cannot apply sum of gender. I cannot do any mathematical operation on this column. Hence, these columns are considered as dimensions. So in very short notes, I have just very simple way, I have just explained what is dimensions and measures, quite oftenly asked in interviews. So yes, the columns in which I can do the aggregations are called the measures. Rest, the columns are called the dimensions. So in Tableau, so Tableau is very smart. Whatever the columns, he finds it as a categorical in nature, it keeps it at the top, and everything, if it is a blue, it is called dimensions. This way you can find out in Tableau any column, if you hover over any column, if it turns to be blue, it is called dimension. Dimensions are categorical in nature. This line below to it, you will find all measures. All the measures means, you will see, if you hover over there, you can see the columns will be turned into green color. Column will be turned into green color. Measures are something where I can do any aggregations. So Tableau is very smart. When you give the data to Tableau, it will first convert the data type automatically. Also, it will categorize my data into dimension and measures. All the dimensions are present at one side, all the measures are present at another side. I hope everyone had understood till here. Yes. Yeah. I hope everyone had understood till here what is dimensions and what is measures. All right. So when I was saying, if I hover over the any column, that column will change into blue color. So if I hover over any column, you can see category, city, country. So these are blue in color. Hence, I need to understand, okay, these are the dimensions. And when I hover here, these are the colors, green in colors. So I can understand, okay, these columns, I can do the aggregations. These are my most of my numericals columns. Okay. I hope measures and dimensions are clear to everyone. Now, keeping this in mind, what is dimension, what is measures, we will create some basics graph. Okay. Now, what I will do is, you can see the outlet of this Tableau page. So I am in sheet. This is the sheet. This is the location where I can draw my graph, where I can bring the graph. So to bring the graph, you need to understand, okay, what all objects are present in Tableau. So the first one at the top is called the menu bar, and the second one is called the toolbars. These all are present everywhere. So if you take the example of Excel also, everything is present at the top. These are called the menu bar. Just like that, Tableau is also having similar kind of things, which we call it as menu bar. And the bottom of it is called the toolbars, where we will utilize each and every different tools to functions. Okay. All right. Yeah. Now you can see in the page, there is a self called columns and rows. Columns and rows. So this is called the self. Just like we have almiras in our house and we call it as self. The self is the placeholder where we will drag and drop something and it will hold that objects. So columns and rows are the cell where we will drag our dimensions and measures, which will give us the graph, which will draw the graph. If we bring any columns and measures, dimensions and measures to the columns and rows, then automatically Tableau will create a graph. There is no other location, there is no other things, anything. If you want to draw the graph, you have to drag and keep it in either in column and rows. Only one place, only one place in Tableau. Very simple, very friendly. The tool is very friendly. Okay, so we will draw one simple basic graph and we will understand how this graph looks like. Okay, yeah. So let me bring the category. So I can bring the category either to rows and columns. So there is no limitations in the Tableau that you need to bring only dimension to rows or only to the column. There is no such limitation. Let's say if I first drag the category to the rows. Okay, so category, so there is a data in the category. When I go to Excel, you will see the category. There are office supplies data, furnitures data, technology data. So these are the different category present in my data under the category table. So when I bring this, Tableau is showing, okay, furniture, office supply, and technology, these are the different category. Now with this dimension, I wanted to know how much sales for this furniture has been done in my Amazon or in my sample superstore retails app. How much sales I have done for furniture, how much sales I have done for office supply, how much sales I have done for technology. By doing this, I wanted to know among this furniture, office supply, and technology, which category I am doing more sales. Okay, which category I wanted to, I am doing more sales. So this is just category I brought. Against this, I need to bring any measures. Just understand sales. How much sales I am doing under the furniture? How much sales I am doing the office supply? So I will bring again sales. So it's just click and drag, just drag and drop. Tableau is drag and drop. So I wanted to have a chart between category and sales. If I wanted to draw a chart between category and sales, so I must be bringing category, I must be bringing the sales. So category, I have brought it into rows. And let's say if I go and drag this sales to the columns. Okay. So these are the bar graph which is automatically getting created by Tableau. All right, now this is looking like a horizontal. If I want to draw a vertical, means if I swap this category to the columns and sales to my rows, if I wanted to swap, then only it will get converted into the axis will change. If my axis change, my graph horizontal, it will change into vertical. So very simple to do that. I can use this tool here, which is present in the Tableau at the top, where if I hover here, it's showing me swap the rows and the columns. Means you can swap what is there in the column to rows and what is there in the rows to columns. It will get swapped. So just click on this, it gets swapped. So there is no limitation that you need to bring the dimension to the rows, you need to bring the measures to the column. There is nothing limitation. If you don't like the graph, you can change the axis. Okay, so I have just changed the axis. Now it's quite visible that furniture, office supply, and technology, these are the three different category, and I am getting how much sales under the each. Okay, so I can just drag this to increase the size of my graph. All right, now this is not in orderly way. By looking at the graph, it's what if there are hundreds of bars? So it's best practice that always make your graph in orderly way. Sort your graph. To sort it, again, beside this swap, there is one button called sorting. So I can sort it ascending way, I can sort it in descending way. So I will just select descending. Now by looking at this, I can easily tell among all this category, office supply, furniture, and technology, I am doing a good business under the technology. My lots, because among these three, my technology sales is good. Technology is giving me the highest sales among all these three just by sorting it. Yes or no? If I want to label my data, so when I hover here, I am getting one pop up like saying category is technology and sales is this much. If I remove it, that if I take out my mouse or cursor from this graph, it just disappear. But I want this thing to get labeled. I want this 8,39,000 to be get labeled. So there is a shortcut to this. Can you see in the toolbar this T button? This is called the labeling. So I can label my measures just one click, and I can just this data get labeled it. All right. So right now I can see in my sample superstore, the category technology is the something which is giving me the highest sales. Yeah. Yes, guys. I hope till here everyone is clear. See how easy it is. Just drag the dimensions and measures to column and rows, and Tableau will give you the graph. Now you need to understand which all are the options I will be using to make my graph beautiful, right? Suppose if I don't label it, people by looking at it, okay, can understand, okay, technology is something which is giving me the highest sales, but how much? The question is how much sales? So I have to label it. No one will go and hover every time. It should get printed. It should get displayed. So I can just use that, label my data here, and here you can get your data get labeled here. Now it is quite visible that furniture and office supplies are doing very competitive business, but technology is the highest performer. Cool. All right. Now this is about the one graph. What if I want to bring another graph? What if I want to do the analysis with the subcategory wise? What if I want to do category wise and I wanted to do a separate analysis on subcategory wise? Yes, I can do. I can choose another sheet just like an Excel. So there is an option called adding the sheet here, or I can just do the addition of sheet from here also. Okay, there are two options I can do. One is like button here at the top in the toolbar, or I can just press the click button here, which will add my sheet. So sheets are the places where I can drag and drop my dimensions and measures, and I can get my graph created over. So now my intention is I just wanted to know how much in each subcategory, what is my sales. So bring the subcategory, bring the sales. So now you can see, and let me sort it. This is the sorting. Now these are the subcategories. So these are the category. These are the category technology, furniture and office supply. And these are under each category, what are the subcategories? Suppose furniture is one of the category. In the furniture, there are category like chairs, tables, right? There are so many furnishing items. There are so many items inside one category. So these are called the subcategory. Now, in that also, I can see my which is my highest selling subcategory. So technology is the category highest selling. Chairs inside the subcategory, this is my highest sellings. And with the help of my labeling, I can label my data. This I can view, this I can see that chairs is giving me the highest sales, where fasteners is giving me the lowest sales. Now, what if I wanted to view both of these like in one bar, in one view, category wise, subcategory wise? Under the technology, I wanted to see which is the highest selling and which is the lowest selling products. Yes, I can do that. So for that, I can bring the category. So it's not limited that only one dimension I can do the analysis. I can do the multiple dimension. So I can bring another dimension. So previously I used to bring only one dimension, one measure. Now I am bringing one dimensions and two dimensions. And for that, I wanted to analyze the sales. So I can see among the furniture. So technology was the highest. Among the technology also, which is the highest? Phone is the highest sales. Phone is the subcategory which is giving the highest sales. Among the furniture, chairs is the product. Chairs are the subcategory which is giving me the highest sales. I can even do the sorting inside the each pan. So
furniture wise, inside the furniture, which is giving me the highest sale, which is giving me the lowest sales. So I can bring n number of dimensions also in my view, and I can do the analysis. All right. Yes. I hope till here it is clear to everyone. Yes. All right. Now I wanted to suppose my manager came and he said that, okay, category wise, I don't want to see, I only wanted to see which inside the technology, which is giving me the highest sales, which is giving me the lowest sales. Only the technology wise, I wanted to do the analysis. Only the technology data I want. Inside the technology, which subcategory is giving me the highest. So right now I have all these three. Furniture is also there, office supply is also there, technology also there. But my intention is I wanted to see only inside the technology which product is giving me the highest sales, lowest sales, or what all are the different behavior of the each sales. Okay. Now to do that, I have to remove this furniture and office supply from my view, because my manager said he wanted to see only inside the technology how am I performing. So I have to remove it. So whenever there is a sense of like removing something from the view, we have to do the filter. Just like in Excel, when we do in Excel, if suppose if I don't want furniture, so I have to do a filter here. I have to apply the filter, and I will say, okay, I want only the technology items, so I just filter rest of them and choose this. Yes or no? Similar way, I want only technology to get viewed. Okay, I want only technology item too, so I have to apply the filter. What filter? I will bring this category to the filter. So there is a self called filter. Whenever I bring anything to this filter, Tableau understand that this particular column has to be applied the filter, has to undergo some filtration. So let me bring this filter. Let's say okay, and right click and say show filter. So this category I am bringing into the filter, and I am showing show the filter. Now I don't want furniture and office supply, so I will just unselect it. See how easy it is now. Now only I have technology wise what is my sales. Yes or no? Suppose no, tomorrow my manager came and said no, he wanted to see technology and furniture data. So I can just choose it. If you don't want, I can just remove it. So this is about how we can do the filtration. If there is a sense of like my data, I don't want my data to, I want only particular data to be viewed, I can do this filtration. Among this also, suppose my manager say, okay, he don't want to see copiers. So copiers is kind of product inside subcategory. So I will bring the subcategory also to the filter and say show filter. So I will say only the relevant values. And suppose inside the technology, if you don't want copiers also, so you can just unselect this copiers. N number of filters also we can apply. It's just a requirement based that what we need here. So now I can analyze, okay, among these three phones, among that product inside the category, let's select all. Let me choose entire view. Now I can see inside my three category, furniture, office supply, and technology, these are the subcategory, and these are the subcategory performance. Under the furniture, chair is giving me the highest sales, furnishing is giving me the lowest sales, fasteners in the office supply is performing very bad, I need to do work on it. So these are the different analysis I can do with the graph. Also I can add the filtration here. So I can even rename my title. So this is something I will just double click on the sheet, and I can say, okay, this is my category wise subcategory wise sales. So I can choose it give the different size, bold it, make it as center. So all this formatting also for my text, I can do it. So that anyone who come to see this graph, he can understand, okay, what type of graph I am doing. So it is category wise, subcategory wise, category wise, subcategory wise, sales. Very fast, right? It's very handy and very quite easy to understand. Yes. So just take 5 minutes. If anyone has the Tableau public and connected with the data, just take 5 minutes and draw this graph, bring the category and subcategory and sales, bring the filter and do this analysis quickly. So quite friendly. Tableau is just drag and drop. You need to understand the requirement, whether I want all the filters, I don't want the filter. Suppose I don't want all technology. So technology is present inside the category. We need to bring this category to the filter cell. Whenever we bring this any column to this filter cell, Tableau then understand, okay, this column has to go with the filtration process. So I can say show filter and I can choose whatever if I want, whatever if I don't want. I don't want furniture. You can get this inside the furniture also. Inside the, let's say inside the office supply also, I don't want to see fasteners. So inside the office supply also, I don't want the fastener. So I can unclick this fastener from the subcategory also, and it has gone. So it's as per our requirement, we can use this. So filter we can use just to omit any data from our view, just to remove any data from our view. I hope everyone is enjoying and understanding the process. A quick yes from everyone. Shall I proceed? Everyone, is it done till here? Yeah, cool. Great. So we have one more facility in this filter. Suppose I wanted to know which is my top 5 products based on the sales, or based which 5 products are being liked by most of the people. Okay, this is my requirement. Yeah, I wanted to understand among the different products in my, among the different products, which top 5 products or which top 10 products are liked by my customers or are very much popularly sold in my sample superstore, which is the product. So I can bring this product. Let's say I have the product name, and based on their sales, I wanted to do the analysis. Okay, let me sort it. Now, this is by default Tableau is giving. Now I wanted only the top 10 products, only the 10 products. So for that, I need to do the filter on the product. So I can use this product name to the filter, and there is an option called top in the filter. So I wanted to know which is my top 10 product among the sales. In the sales, based on my sales, which is my top 10 products. So I just brought the products name to my filter, and in this, whenever I bring this to the filter cell, I am getting this pop-up window. Now here I can choose, I wanted to analyze the top. So I will say top, give me the top 10 product, give me the top 10 product, top. I can enter the manual button like 10 to 5 also, or 10 to 3 also, as per my requirement. So I want top 10 product, top 10 product based on the sales, based on the sales. Yes. If I just click OK, see, these are my top 10 products. Or let's say example, you usually get some discount offer, or you being the potential customer to some Amazon or Flipkart, so they give some offer for you. How do they say that? Why do they give these offers to the only selected people? They will say that these are my 5 customers who is doing a good business, who is regularly doing a business with Flipkart or Amazon. So let me give some, let me celebrate Diwali with him, let by sending some gift voucher. So they will go to the data. Let's say they will choose the customer, they have the customer data, they will say that customer and their sales, so they have this data. Now they wanted to understand which 10 customer I have to share this voucher or coupon card, because they have done a good sales. So in this Diwali, let's give them 500 rupees voucher. So they must be finding out which is my top 10 customer. So they have this data of customer and their sales. Then what we will do, let's bring this customer name to the filter, and I will say top, give me the top 10 customer who is giving me the highest sales. So I will say okay, I will just sort it, and I can find out, okay, this San Miller is the first customer, Tamra Chand the second customer, Raymond Bush third customer. These all are the list of my 10 customer who is giving me the good business to my sample superstore. So I can use the word top in the filter, and based on the sales I can find out. So many facilities are there in the Tableau, very friendly. So within a seconds I can find out who is my top 10 customer, who is my top 5. Suppose tomorrow if I want to find no top 10, I have a budget constraint, so I will go for 5 customer. I will send a 5 customer this voucher. Sorry. So I can go here, edit the filter, and I can say no, I wanted to see the top 5 customer. I can say okay, I have the top 5. Suppose tomorrow I wanted to know who is my bottom 5 customer. Same thing. Instead of top, I can choose the bottom 5 customer. So these are the customer who is doing very low business to me. So they are my bottom 5. If I wanted to know top 5, I can just go here and choose my top. See, it just click and drag and drop click buttons, but we need to understand where are the objects present under each. Sorry. Yeah. All right. So this is about the filters. So we need to drag, if we want to draw the graph, we need to drag the graph, drag the columns to the column cells and row cells. It's not limited that only dimension can we bring. We can bring n number of dimensions to the rows or columns as per my requirement. If I want to swap it, I can just swap. I can just swap it. So it's your requirement, if your understanding, if this looks okay, if you want horizontal graph, then you can go for it. All right. Now it's not about only we can have the horizontal or vertical bars, we can have a lots and lots of graphs. So by default, Tableau is providing us the 24 graphs. So all these graphs are present inside this show me. So if I click show me, I can get, these are the different graphs present inside the Tableau. I can create the bar graph, I can create the pie chart, I can create the text table, bubble graph, maps, many more. Heat map, tree maps, many more. Yeah. So let's let us create one pie chart here. So for pie chart, let me use region. I wanted to know in each region how much sales I am doing or how much profit I am doing. So let's bring the region and the sales. By default, Tableau is giving me the horizontal bar graph, but I can change. So I can go to show me and select the graph which are enabled. So graph will get enabled as per the requirement. So with one dimension and one measures, I can bring these many charts which are enabled. So with one measures and one dimension, I cannot have this line graph. Okay. So to make a line graph, if I hover over this graph, it is showing me that for line, we must have one measures, that too one date. See at the bottom, it's giving. So Tableau is very friendly. Even though you want to draw any graph, just hover over the any chart and it will show you what is the requirement to create that chart. So right now I wanted to create a pie chart. So by default, Tableau has given me this bar graph. I can go to show me and can select this pie chart. Yes, it looks small, so I can change the view from standard to entire view. Now, also, if I want to display this 7,39,000, I can just label my graph. Yes, I can just label my graphs. There is another option to label here. In the mark cell, you can also see these labels, T labels. So this is the shortcut way. Only one measures can be displayed, one measures can be labeled, but this labels which is present in the marks, you can bring in number of columns which will get displayed. So right now for me it's very difficult to compare. Okay, red one is related to south, orange one is related to east. I have to go every time and map it. It's why can't it's better I can display this east, west, south in the graph itself. So to do that, I can just bring this region to my label. I wanted to label my region, just like when we do in our 10th class or when we are in school days. When we draw the graph, we just label our graph. Similarly in Tableau also, if you label it, it looks good. More the information you will provide. So right now I wanted to display label my pie chart with the region called east, west, whatever the region is there. I wanted to display it. So just bring this region to this labels. It will get label. Now I wanted to label my sales also. Then again, drag this and keep it in the labels. Now I don't need this, so I can just say hide this card. See, now this looks good to me. Yes or no? I can now say, okay, in the central region, east region, west region, how much sales I am doing under each category and subcategory. I hope till here everyone had understood. Yeah. So I take a pause here and open the platform for the question answers. So if anyone had any questions till now, so tomorrow again we will see a comparison between Apple and Samsung, and we will see that in which region, which is the best region for me to import my iPhone 15. If iPhone 15 is going to release, I will see which particular region it is good to launch my iPhone 15. So that we will see tomorrow, and again we will start something on few interviews questions, and then we will move to SQL part, and then we will continue from there. So I hope everyone had understood till here and enjoyed the session. I hope most of you are going to get something, some at least few things from these Tableau sessions and can apply in their work. So any questions for anyone? I'm open for questions. Anything from anyone? Do any of us have any query? So we have 2 more minutes. So I'm open for any questions to take. All right. If I take it as no questions, so I hand it over to Amar.
Yeah, thank you so much. So guys, if you have any query or question for me, please drop in the chat box. And one more thing, I already shared the attendance link in the chat box. Please mark your attendance and share your valuable feedback as well. I'm sharing that once again with you. Anything, please share with me. Yeah, we're done with the session. If you don't have any query or question, we'll meet you on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Yeah, bye, Apsan. Okay, then thank you so much all of you for joining the session.